Professor Guido, I want to ask you about your survey on, or is that, well, I think it's a survey on vaccine hesitancy. It has dropped to 5%. That's pretty low. What do you attribute that to? Mas ano ba siya sa disincentives or sa incentives? Meaning, among the disincentives, of course, is the no vax, no ride.
Actually, Ami, yeah, it's down to 5%.
Yes.
And if we recall, I mean, yung history ng surveys namin, originally back in 2020, the vaccine hesitancy was, I think, as high as 75%, meaning only 1 out of 4 Filipinos were at that time willing to get vaccinated. Some were, 50-50, and then there was 50% who did not want to get vaccinated. Now it's down to all the way to 5%. And we tend to think this 5% would probably be among the group of people who have certain beliefs that, well, for them, they do not want to get vaccinated because it's against their beliefs. I think it's almost at that level where this 5% is accounted for mostly by their either religious beliefs or something personal beliefs or comorbidities, which is also possible. So, but this was done in December. I can't remember if we already were in discussions about things like no vax, no ride. Yeah, but I think we were talking about safe spaces back then. But the thing is, I think most people, well, it's like a recruitment process. When they see more and more people getting vaccinated, and they're not seeing any side effects, basically. Yeah, and they know people who got vaccinated. I think that's the best way to get people to convince people to get vaccinated. And of course, there's also if there was no threat of a virus or a variant, a lot of people would probably say, well, I don't need to get vaccinated. There's no more threat. I mean, if if the Delta was basically disappearing, but because of the threat of Omicron, and when we conducted a survey, there was already the threat of Omicron. People were already hearing about it. So I think these threats make people realize, they have to choose. Do I want to face Omicron without vaccination, or do I want to face it with vaccination? It goes to what Father's saying. It's better for you to have yourself some level of protection, because if you face it without vaccination, what Father's saying is that if you are vaccinated and you get it, then it will add to your level of protection in terms of antibodies and facing new variations. But if you don't have vaccination and you face it, it's like you're facing it unarmed. You don't have any defense, and you have to wait for your body to develop these antibodies, which could take time, and it could bring in some certain side effects with it because of the wait time. So that's why I think a lot of people eventually decided that regardless of some things they believe in, they decided to get vaccinated. And of course, this is good news. And I think we have the vaccines ready. I mean, Father's part of the vaccine, team. So I hope we can use up all these vaccines and, get boosters also, and at the same time vaccinate those in areas with low vaccine coverage, because as Ed was mentioning kanina, how bad can it be? We don't really know if it hits a rural place with low vaccine coverage, because what we saw in Metro Manila was that it can overwhelm the staffing, not because of the number of beds in NCR, but because of people, healthcare workers getting COVID and they have to isolate, and this reduces the staffing capacity. But what if this happens in a province with low vaccine coverage? So you have healthcare workers possibly catching COVID and not being there to attend to beds, and then you have a higher number of cases because more people are unvaccinated. That will lead to more hospitalizations. It could lead to more deaths. I mean, we don't want to make, or we're not making projections on the worst case possible, but but it could definitely be worse than what we experienced in NCR.